Alright, sup citizens, welcome back to the Path of Rage. I am of course your host, Rage at Games, and this is my weekly or at least semi-weekly Star Citizen news roundup for you guys. Where I just kind of go over what's new, what's happening with the latest patches, sum up a little bit of Inside Star Citizen and Star Citizen Live, and just keep you up to date with the goings-on of this project. So, let's get stuck in. First up, we've got a few new additions to the 4.0 roadmap. They're still tentative, like everything else is in the 4.0 roadmap, but CIG has now added acidic and rock caves to the 4.0 mix, along with asteroid bases and space stations that are contested zones that will be designed for an enhanced FPS experience. They're also adding the RSI Zeus Mark II CL to 4.0, and this is the cargo version of the Zeus that will come along in 4.0, again, tentatively. These are just newly added to the roadmap, and again, as you can see in the screenshot here in the background, it is tentative, but again, it's something more coming for this year if they can pull it off. We will see. Now, regarding the latest 3.24 Evocati patch, right here we can see that the latest bug fixes that were posted on the Friday's patch, the one that is currently up as the time of this recording, we've got some bugs fixed, including client crashes and server crashes, and personal hangar despawning and leaving players out of bounds, stuff like that. The patch is still not ready for Wave 1, unfortunately. It's getting less frustrating. If you guys remember from my last video last week, I said I was starting to burn out on bug testing these because we are focusing all on persistent hangars, and a lot of these bug problems do come from the instanced hangars. I think even the cargo mission bugs that we're seeing and being unable to always finish that mission or progress with it also has a lot to do with the hangar bugs. They do keep working out the bugs, as you can see, but it's currently not yet in a state for Wave 1, and it's not really in a state where I can report to you again that something drastic has changed. These are some bugs that have been fixed, but it's not in a Wave 1 state quite yet. And keeping that in mind, the message of the day for the Evocati when I was recording this on Monday is that they were not looking to publish another build until Tuesday. That's possible later on today from when you're watching this video, maybe even by the time you're watching this video, but as of right now, at the time of the recording, this is still the Friday patch. They're also planning to do a tech preview later this week with the audience based on the current PTU wave. So if by some wild stretch of the imagination Wave 1 is the end of this week, well then maybe that wave will be in on this and we'll get to test some more of the server meshing background. That's what that's going to be. But for now, they continue to knock out the bugs and hammer away at this major change to the game. Just it's not ready yet, folks. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to be a little more patient. Star Citizen Live this week was an interesting one, but not really a news reporting one or talking about features. What they did is they sat down and they took one of the distribution centers that are currently in the game and showed the process in editor of how they would turn that to more of a pyro themed, more combat focused type of distribution area or play space for the players to run around it. It was a really interesting episode. It's just over an hour long. I highly suggest you guys watch it if seeing the actual process of how these locations are built in engine and added to and how the assets are used. It was really, really interesting to watch. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I highly suggest you watch it. It's just not a episode that gave away a whole lot of new information. Again, check it out for yourselves. Links in the description below as always. Inside Star Citizen as well was kind of a rehash over previously trodden territory when it comes to the personal hangars and how inventory and the cargo freight elevators are going to work. Most of it is this kind of a refresh of what we have been told already, but there were some new tidbits of information that are going to go over here with you. Again, it was focused on the elevators and hangars, and one of the things that they did point out is that a change has been made now that people trespassing in a personal hangar will be automatically kicked out after 30 seconds or so. Now, it didn't say if they got a crime stat for that. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but they will be kicked out within 30 seconds or so, is what CIG said. The hangars are also now going to be non-armistice zones. So if somebody is trespassing in your hangar and they haven't been kicked, and you see them, you'll be able to pull out your gun now and shoot and kill them without getting a crime stat. This will also apply to public hangars outside of your personal one that you are given to land at other landing zones and space stations. Because that's the landing pad you requested, you have quote-unquote ownership or authority over that hangar. So if someone's trespassing or someone tries to attack you in it or whatnot, again, it's the same as the personal hangar. No armistice zone. You can fire back and kill them without a crime stat, and they will be kicked after a certain amount of time if that doesn't happen. Anyway, I think this is a good change. I think it's definitely needed. People could be a pain in the ass if they got into your hangar and you couldn't do anything about it, and certainly sucked to get a crime stat by trying to get rid of someone being a pain. So that's a nice change. Another nice one that a lot of people are going to be happy for is that certain ships that were previously listed as using small hangars are now medium-sized hangars to better fit the actual size of the ship, like the C1, the Spirit, or the amount of cargo that the ships can handle and transfer on and off. So they might need a larger sized freight elevator. So this is going to make things just a little bit easier, give you a little more space in your hangar as well for the cargo, because it has to be off to the side. It can't be anywhere near the actual pad that your ship comes up and down on, or you lose that item, it just gets vanished and whatnot. So that's, again, another good change. They also addressed the issue of the automatic cargo loading times. These loading times were absolutely insane when we first got this in the Evocati build. I think at one point to load a Cutlass, if I remember correctly, it wasn't that I noted it down anywhere. So I'm going off the top of my head. Forgive me if I'm wrong. If anyone else knows for a fact I'm wrong on this, but I swear for a Cutlass, it was something like 15 minutes to unload a Cutlass. Like an insanely long time, which made no sense because you could do it a hell of a lot faster than that by hand. However, instead of me summarizing this and possibly misinterpreting what Chad McKinley had to say, let's hear about it from him directly.
Now, what we went out with before wasn't really our intended behavior, because what was missing was some granularity in the loading time determination based on the box size. It was always the plan, we just weren't able to get to it yet. So I know that there was some feedback that some of the loading times seemed to not make sense. This is the reason. The reason is that we didn't have the granularity in the system to scale the loading times based on the box size. And what that really means is that for smaller boxes per SEU, you're going to spend more time on smaller boxes. So if you have, let's say, a ship and you fill it up with 600 SEU, if those are like 1 SEU boxes, that's going to take a long time because that's a lot of boxes to move. But if we're talking 32 SEU boxes, that's a much more efficient moving pattern that has to be done by the loading services, so that's going to be quicker to load. And that'll help us tune the system to make sure that we're not overly punishing people with these incredible loading times. But we still want it to, be a reasonable amount of time for the higher loads, for us to be able to tune the economy in a reasonable way, and also to make sure that manual loading is something that there is an incentive to do.
Now that he said that, I can say for a fact that I've noticed the timings have been changing or whatnot and getting better. They are nowhere near as bad as they were, but at least this way, now that those of us who have experienced, like, it got talked about on the forums and Reddit a lot, how ridiculous those times were. Here you are, now it's all cleared up. We can take a step back, take a breath, and, you know, get on with our lives, because we know that this is going to be adjusted, as everything in Star Citizen always is. And finally, inventory search is being implemented. This is something the players have been begging for since the first implementation of the inventory system. So we will now finally be able to type in a word, search our entire inventory, and find it quickly for ourselves. This is finally coming. Chad said that the reason that this had been put off so long was simply due to the time commitment required needed to open up for the back-end teams. It was all waiting and in place, but the back-end teams needed to get a moment in time where they could actually work on this feature. You know, they've been working on server meshing and all that kind of stuff, so as we can imagine, they've been fairly busy. Now that they've had some time and they've put it in, we are getting search. And that's so much nicer. A great quality of life update for sure. And that is it for this week's roundup of Star Citizen news. Again, it's a somewhat quiet week, somewhat less information than I would have liked as normal, but at the same time, not as quiet as some previous years have been. CIG keeps updating us, and I'll keep doing that with you guys as well. Hopefully, let's cross our fingers, we might get to Wave 1 with 324 later this week. I don't know. It's not my gut feeling, having played these latest builds, is it's not quite there yet, but I've been proven wrong in the past before, so we will see, and we will keep our eyes peeled, and as always, I will report on that next week if it comes to pass. And in any case, that's been this episode. I'm RayJake Games. If you thought I did a good job on this summary, give me a thumbs up. As always, subscribe if you're new to help me grow the channel. I do appreciate that, and until next time, I'll see you in the verse. Bye-bye.